Unlike for teams in the NFL, a 0-3 start doesn't have to doom the playoff hopes for fantasy football owners. With the 2017 regular season still at a relatively early stage, the waiver wire can be a great source of value. Owners are still feeling out whether a player's hot start is a sign of things to come or an unsustainable stretch of excellent performances in an otherwise mundane season. Below are a few players who could potentially help arrest any slide to start the year and some others whose values have fallen over the past 3 weeks. Week 4 waiver wire targets: Alex Smith, QB, Kansas City Chiefs; Duke Johnson, Air Bay, Cleveland Browns; Samaje Air Bay, Washington Redskins; Marquise Lee, WR, Jacksonville Jaguars; Sterling Shepard, WR, New York Giants. Alex Smith has rarely moved the needle from a fantasy perspective, but that could change this year. Through 3 games, he has thrown for 774 yards and 7 touchdowns, and the Kansas City Chiefs may have the best set of playmakers they've assembled since Smith arrived. Travis Kelce is still one of the game's best tight ends, while Tyreek Hill is fulfilling the potential he showed last season. Kareem Hunt still has ways to go to match the prime years of Jamal Charles, but Jordan Howard and Ezekiel Elliott demonstrated in 2016 that rookie running backs can be elite fantasy producers. Expecting Smith to maintain his current pace may be unrealistic. At the very least, though, he should continue to be a QB1 option. The return of Odell Beckham to full health could be an example of a rising tide lifting all boats. Beckham caught 9 passes for 79 yards and 2 touchdowns in the New York Giants' 27-24 defeat to the Philadelphia Eagles. Sterling Shepard also had 7 receptions for 133 yards and a touchdown. The NFL shared a replay of his touchdown reception in the 4th quarter. While Beckham will command the most targets of any Giants receiver, his presence could also have a positive effect for Shepard. With the opposing defense focused on stopping Beckham, the second-year wideout may have more space in the secondary. Some fantasy owners will have soured on Shepard following his mediocre production in the first 2 weeks, 9 catches, 67 yards, making him a solid buy low candidate. Players to drop: Week 4 Andy Dalton, QB, Cincinnati Bengals; Eddie Lacy, Air Bay, Seattle Seahawks; Cooper Kupp, WR, Los Angeles Rams; Austin Hooper, TAY, Atlanta Falcons. 3 weeks in, the Eddie Lacy experiment has yielded little for the Seattle Seahawks. He had 3 yards on 5 carries in the opening week of the season before being inactive in Week 2. Despite being activated for Sunday's 33-27 defeat to the Tennessee Titans, Lacy didn't take a single snap. There's the obvious question about whether Lacy is capable of being a feature back in the Seahawks offense. Head coach Pete Carroll sure made it sound like he sees Lacy as the secondary option on the ground. "We didn't get a chance. We ran about 6 or 7 times in the first half," he said when asked about Lacy's lack of carries, per Seahawks Wire's Liz Matthews. Chris Carson was doing fine. "We were going to see how far we could go with Chris and then see if we had Eddie coming off the bench, but it just never got to that." That's not exactly a ringing endorsement. And beyond Lacy's lack of playing time, the Seahawks' offensive line has been a nightmare at times. Seattle is 20th in adjusted sack rate and 25th in adjusted line yards, according to Football Outsiders. Lacy was a Pro Bowler and won the Associated Press Offensive Rookie of the Year award in 2013 and eclipsed 1,000 rushing yards again in 2014, so it's understandable why fantasy owners are waiting for him to turn things around. But it's hard to see how things could have started worse for Lacy in Seattle. Long-term fantasy sleepers: Jared Goff, QB, Los Angeles Rams; Mitchell Trubisky, QB, Chicago Bears; Donta Foreman, Air Bay, Houston Texans; Devin Funchess, WR, Carolina Panthers; David Njoku, TAY, Cleveland Browns. ESPN. Komsky and Foley perfectly encapsulated Jared Goff's start to the 2017 season. Goff has thrown for 817 yards, 5 touchdowns and an interception through 3 games, but the Los Angeles Rams opponents rank 29th, 12th and 14th in pass defense. The second-year passer hasn't faced a murderer's row in terms of secondaries. And things can turn quickly for young quarterbacks. Carson Wentz was the toast of the NFL last year and he quickly fell back to earth for the remainder of his rookie year. Should Goff's improvement carry on through the next few weeks, he'd be well worth a spot on your bench. Like quarterback, tight end is a position that can often be addressed on the waiver wire. Every year, a few tight ends emerge from relative fantasy obscurity to become a valuable starter. David Njoku could be the next example. The Cleveland Browns rookie caught his second touchdown in as many weeks in Sunday's 31-28 loss to the Indianapolis Colts. Njoku only has 7 receptions.